When you need mealtime inspiration, it's worth shopping Kroger, where you'll find over 30,000 mouth-watering choices that excite your inner foodie. And no matter what tasty choice you make, you'll enjoy our everyday low prices, plus extra ways to save, like digital coupons worth over $600 each week. You can also save up to $1 off per gallon at the pump with fuel points. More savings and more inspiring flavors make shopping Kroger worth it every time. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Fuel restrictions apply.
Look, October is the month where the one professional sport that is most affected by weather is in the midst of its pinnacle event. Irony, right? Major League Baseball's World Series Classic. Think of it. When you get to the final World Series matchup for the championship, it's later in October and the weather is at its most precarious. Hi, I'm Chris May, host of This Day in Weather History, a podcast from the Weather Network in Canada. Yes, it's another baseball story, but the World Series is massive. It takes place in October, and when weather causes its delay or cancellation, it's a story that needs to be retold. Like right now, on this day, in weather history. It was the 1996 World Series, and we were primed for Game 1 between the Atlanta Braves and New York Yankees to be played at Yankee Stadium in Bronx, New York. That was the plan, anyway. But the weather was simply too much, and the opener was postponed by heavy rains and high wind from a major storm system affecting the East Coast. It was only the third time in history that a World Series opener had been postponed. As a matter of fact, in the history of the World Series, 9 of the 22 games that have actually been postponed, moved, or canceled in a World Series were scheduled in New York or Brooklyn. That's almost half, and it's split between two teams from the same city. But outside of baseball, this storm was no joke. It was damaging, and it was deadly. Highways were flooded. A record just under 4.5 inches of rain fell in Central Park, and some 200,000 homes in New Jersey, New York, and Connecticut lost power. Actually, in New York, the power outages were said to be the worst since Hurricane Gloria in 1985. More than 8 inches of rain fell in parts of New Jersey, and a Delta Airlines jet skidded off a runway at LaGuardia Airport, injuring 5 people and forcing the closure of the airport for nearly 24 hours. In total, sadly, 3 people were killed, and they were killed by falling trees. Now, as far as baseball goes, it is a general acceptance that cool weather helps the pitcher. The air gets denser when it gets colder, and that normally equates to more fly balls that carry less and gives curves just a bit more bite. Also, as a result of the drag and resistance, the fan favorite home run, those numbers drop by almost 20% in games when the temperature is less than 60 degrees Fahrenheit or 15.5 degrees Celsius, compared to all other games, particularly those in the midsummer, turning instant runs into fly ball outs. So, effective pitchers love this, but there is a downside as well. The cool, biting temperature affects those multi-million-dollar pitching hands. Pitchers lose control, and that results in a relatively sharp increase in more walks during colder games. And with the cold and its effects on hands, paired with the increase of fly balls that stay in the park, fielders are a lot busier than normal and also exposed to the same elements. So now we're going to see a sharp related increase in committing more errors. The net result is that there is almost no change at all in the number of total runs scored per 9-inning games. It's just the way that those runs are being scored. So all's well that ends well, I guess. Except for the National League champion Atlanta Braves, who were also defending their 1995 World Series championship. You see, the Yankees defeated the Braves 4-2 to capture their first World Series title since 1978 and their 23rd championship overall. This was also the rise of the late 90s Yankee Dynasty that would go on to win again in 1998, 1999, and 2000. But as for today, this was yet another World Series game that had to be postponed by the rain in NYC, this day in weather history. Tomorrow is October 20th. We're going to dive back in for another look at a weather adjacency, if you will. And that is where the story is not necessarily a weather story per se, but it does involve a naturally occurring phenomena, the earthquake. We're going to India for the 1991 Uttarkashi earthquake, also known as the Garhwal earthquake. It registered as a magnitude 6.8 and packed a maximum Mercalli intensity of 9, which translates directly to violent shaking. Hey y'all, if you have not already done so, you need to check this out. Like now, right? This Day in Weather History has really upped our visual game and revised the look of our podcast video shorts. That's what we call them, podvid shorts. They are now shot right here in my TDIWH studio, where I'm actually recording these episodes right now that you listen to every day wherever you happen to listen to your podcast. These videos are short, easy to digest, 1 to 2 minute bits that are loaded with archived photo and video taken right from that specific day in weather history. You can find them on TV and online at www.theweathernetwork.com/weather history. Also, while you're there, read the articles our writers have composed from the research material that I provide that I have used to script out each episode. This is a truly inclusive and multi-platform production, so we are literally wherever, whenever, and however you need us. Tomorrow, for instance, we will be right back here where you have us now, and we will be looking back to India on October 20th and the 1991 Uttarkashi earthquake on this day in weather history with me, your host, Chris May.